now. Okay, I just restarted the stream. Okay. Oh. Okay, so that might be it. Okay, Jacko's talk. Zoolandi, you still there? Let us know. Zoolandi, you still there? Let us know. This with another test. This with another test. No, I know. No, I know. Yeah, I know. That's the weird thing. Is like, why am I coming through? I don't know. Yeah, I know. That's the weird thing. Is like, why am I coming through? I don't know. Yeah, I know. That's the weird thing. Is like, why am I coming through? I don't know. Oh my god. Oh, the. Oh no, it's not picking up Discord. That's weird. And somehow it's picking up the echo in the game. No, no, it's like coming through my headset. Okay. Does he? I really thought I fixed it for a second there. Okay, go test again. Dude, I'm actually choked. Well, yeah, extremely what the fuck. Test again, please.
Testing for the final time.
Oh, that might have been it.
Hey! For the final time.
Yeah, I did it. Got it. Oh, Alright, let's get the swear words out for fuck sakes. Okay, holy shit. Dude, that was absolutely echoes back.
Oh no.
Please.
Am I echoing, or is it just you?
No, you're good. I figured it out. Okay. Such a stupid... Oh, such a dumb little thing.
Alright. Well, we've missed half of qualifying, but there's been plenty of action. We've lost Matt Rosie. He's yet to set a time. Well, he's not going to set a time, which is unfortunate. Then there's also Mystic, who ran over debris on one of the straights and got a puncture to the right front.
The McLarens are sitting 1-2.
Yeah, that's true. 104.1s for both the Papaya cars.
So, fairly respectable laps here. Man, okay. I gotta refocus here. I'm pissed.
We've been thrown for an absolute loop there.
Yeah, everyone, 95% of people that have set a time are in the 104s. Only Sui and Smith Pell sit outside the 104s right now.
Yeah, that's mighty close.
Yeah.
Mighty close.
That's a crazy little stat there.
A top 7 covered by less than 3/10 there.
That is so tight, unbelievably tight. Okay, let's try and get back into who's on a hot lap. I think young DJ CJ is on a hot lap. Got a McLaren coming into the pit. Soyo Loco's about to start his. I think Ginnitt's invalid. Got a Ferrari.
Mystic's a couple of corners from starting his lap as well.
Okay, so as well as Sui.
Big shout out to Jonathan Dunk here, who's in his first, as far as I know, Midwest race at all, and he's in the top 5, replacing Will Aarons for this race.
Yep. Unfortunately, we are out of Fred Head to this evening. He had to get called in to work, or at least he's been stuck at work longer than what he was anticipating. So.
That was not ideal there for Mystic. I think he turned in a bit earlier than he expected. Had to turn out of the first turn, and that's going to cost him some time heading up through all the way to turn 3. Hopefully not too much time though, as he's actually up on his time by 4 thousandths.
Yolmir might be going the 103s. No, just he evens his time.
Wow. So Yolmir really on it for the first time, I think, really all season to be up that high on the grid so far, obviously, in the session.
Soyo Loco in relegation trouble is putting out a pretty good qualifying right now in 8th. He's sitting bottom of the table. We'll pull up the standings for you in a bit, but he is, quick math, puts me at 69 points back of safety here, so he needs to start stringing together some races.
Purple middle sector here from the Alfa Romeo driver of Mystic. He's coming out of the last turn. Is it pole? Yes, it is.
Just.
It's less than a 10th clear, though, of the McLaren drivers.
Yeah.
So there's still room for improvement. Definitely turn 1, I think. He has some time left in him. But for now, it's enough for provisional pole.
Okay, so we haven't gotten to this point yet, but Hash is just coming around the final turn here, and he's going to start a hot lap here. So why don't you take us through the track?
Alright, let's have a look here. Hash, the beautiful Ferrari, sets up for turn 1 by going just onto that curb there. Runs a little bit wide, and for some reason doesn't actually get invalid.
He's invalid.
Didn't show for a while on my screen. That is unfortunate. It's very easy to do that there. Well, and you really have to push it in order to set a good first sector time. So I'm not sure if it's worth staying on board with him.
No.
We're going to do another charge lap now.
I'm with his teammate now coming through turn 9. Goes just off, but stays on by both. I don't know how he didn't go invalid there. And he goes all the way up into 8th. He actually lost time on sector 3 there. Soyo Loco looks, he improved. We got an Alpine coming over, and is that Sui? Sui's going to improve on his time as well. He's going to put himself as well into the 104s.
And then we've got Helgen on 11.3. Particularly impressive time there. But he is 6 seconds up on his time coming out of the last turn. We're just going to put him up into 8th place. So there's yet another 104.
There we go. Look at that.
Smith Pell also with a lap time set that's not really representative yet. He's
Cake.
about halfway through the lap. We'll see how he goes in this Alpine.
Cake moved up.
Nice. Sector split coming up for Smith Pell here. Ooh, massive understeer there. But he is 4.5 seconds up on his time. But that's only enough for about 107 or 108. So still having some struggles there as young DJ CJ finds the barriers. Have to hop on board with, let's say,
Scuba Steve quick.
Scuba Steve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting place to have ended up.
Very true. Smith
Can't
Pell
quite
goes.
explain that.
Smith Pell goes 12th, putting every driver that has set a time into the 104s.
Yep, you're right. So he must have had an issue in the last sector on his previous best. Otherwise, 4.5 seconds would not have put him that far up. Anyway, that just leaves Impossible Bacon now. He's yet to set a lap time.
Zoolandy gives us the thumbs up that we sound good now, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Zoolandy.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your patience as well.
Yes, thank you very much. Jin, try and when he comes around, just take over and try and do the full lap with him.
All right, let's see if he can keep it clean. Don't want to curse him. Not like there's ever been a curse by the commentary.
Scuba Steve goes 4th.
And that's definitely an invalid out lap. Let's see if it lets him start this lap. Okay, DRS is open for the Aston Martin. Of course, a race winner, the only other one other than Mystic this season. Through turn 1, he was just about on the border of what's allowable there, and that's exactly what you need to do through that particular turn. Maximum speed through this turn 2, which not really a turn, it's flat out. But he's well down, so I imagine he's already backed out of the lap, 7 tenths down on his previous best. There is a DRS zone here, so it's going to be opened up. Not sure what his plan is now. Presumably this will be a charging lap. Don't think he's using any ERS. Yeah, he's not on a lap.
Oh yeah, he's backed out. Random Sirius actually improved on his time, and now he's as well within the 104.1s alongside his teammate.
He had been already, but I think he improved by 1,000th of a second.
Oh my, here we go, Scuba Steve. He comes over in 2nd place.
Oh, it's the exact same time as Mystic Joker as well.
Oh my, I didn't even notice that.
Heartbreaking. That's the second time Scuba Steve has been on divisional second, having set the same time at this track.
Here we go. I think Jin's going around again.
Okay, here we go. Jin, through turn 1 this time.
And invalidates. Okay, we need to leave this guy alone.
Oh, this poor man.
We're awful. We're terrible people.
Man. He's got time to get around again, though, I believe.
Yeah.
So he retires. 16-2 from Bacon, a very impressive lap there. Let's keep it in us, Joy. I didn't even realise you put in us lost connection.
Okay, here we go. Get on board with Yolmir and take us through this lap. Hopefully, we'll.
Well, his teammate as well. So okay, I'll go for Yolmir.
Okay.
All right, the McLaren's line astern as they start what's going to be maybe either their last or second last lap. And let's see, does he take the curb? Yes, plenty of curb into turn 1, as you need to do. No invalidation through there. Looked pretty, like there was some margin there, I think, from Yolmir, which may not be the greatest choice, given he's already 1:04.1. And he's down on his time, unfortunately, almost a full 10th of a second down, and that's hard to reclaim around this track. It's such a short track. Did nail turn 3, though. So with the DRS open on this second straight, he's going to be let through by Jonathan Dunk, who's up there in 6th still, so very impressive by him. No issues there through the next turn, and this is a blind entry through the middle sector. Horrible turn, actually. I'm not sure if anyone likes this turn, but let's see. Or no, he's 7 tenths down, Crash. This is not going to be an improvement, unfortunately. I think he's going to recharge. He's going to go again on the next lap.
Oh, it's
held. That's out of the last turn. We may as well stay on board with the McLarens here. Yeah, he's deposited his Mercedes to the inside of the last turn, which looks rather nasty. All right, let's try this again. Turn 1, Yolmir. Really nice to take it this time, and might be up on his time. He's going to get a big toe from his teammate, Random Sirius. Very nice, boys, very nice. And that's actually a first sector that he's improved upon, but really does not hook up turn 3 whatsoever. I'm going to say he's down at this point, but he's going to stay on the lap, hopefully, Yeah, ERS is still being deployed. The ERS is open into this next braking zone. Yeah, it's that quite nicely through there. I think he's down though. This does not look like.
Mystic goes into the 103s,
Yeah,
puts his
yeah, he
foot
certainly
down.
does.
Cake
Yeah,
jumps up into
the old man's
5th.
1.8.
Soya Loco, unfortunately invalid, but did improve his time.
We got purple first sector, green second sector from Jonathan Dunk. Can he make an improvement in the last sector and move up from 7th place? We'll see. One corner to go for him. Possible Bacon did manage to get a 4 in the end, a 4.7 for 14th provisionally. And Jonathan Dunk to the front row of the grid, a 103.8.
Hash couldn't improve his time, and I think that's the end of qualifying here. Yeah, because
Tiak is well down, yeah. Niggas in. So
Okay.
that's a very impressive debut from Jonathan Dunk, replacing Lance for AlphaTauri. That's definitely a helmet Marco move if I ever saw one.
You know what? Monkey did warn us. He was a racer, so he for sure proved it there, being one of 2 men to go into the 103s. So very well done. Okay, now let's get your what happened last week in Hungary. If you haven't watched the YouTube video, and because you're muted earlier, how was Hungary last week with Hotspot there?
Hungary was a very sad affair. There was no Crash McQueen alongside me. None of us knew what to do with ourselves, and basically a Shakespearean tragedy. No, yeah, it was a very exciting race. 35 laps of Hungary was not quite the Ocon special of IRL this past year in real life, but certainly an interesting race. And Mystic did win, so the curse may lie with me, but we'll have to do a few more experiments to just figure that out. But yeah, we've moved on now, and here we are in.
I'll just run through the qualifying order here, and then we'll get back onto the most recent results. That was Hungary.
Okay.
So we see Mystic Joker up in the top with Jonathan Dunk on the first row. Scuba Steve having a good qualifying alongside Yolmir with a great qualifying. Random Series keeping his pace going alongside Cake Thomas. Ginnittowin with Scavney, Helg, and Smith Powell in the top 10. Tiak and Soya Loco, JC Blackley with Impossible Bacon. I'm assuming Impossible is hoping for more there. As well as Hash and Super Ninas, Young DJ CJ on the mediums actually, and Sui and Matt Rosie, like we said earlier, crashed out, and no Fredhead this evening, so only one Haas is racing with us, so 19 drivers makes up the grid. And like I said, the recent results from Hungary there, if you can remember, if you got to wait for it to come up on your screen there, Jacko,
well, we had Mystic win the race from pole position, and Matt Rosie qualified on the front row alongside him and finished second. So those two remained in the same positions, but it was Kate Thomas rounding out the podium, and then Helg with a season best 4th, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, he had a 5th at Brazil, I believe, wasn't it? And then where he pitted 5 times.
We had Gin on a different strategy, going for some soft runs with 1 extra pit stop, but it just didn't work out for him, unfortunately. He ended up still in the top 10, but yeah, it could have gone a lot better, let's say, for Gin.
Yeah, top 10 finishes is still, it's just not what he can bring. Simple enough.
Talking about Gin though, in qualifying he set that time for 7th place on mediums, so he'll be the only driver in the top 10 starting on something other than the softs.
Oh, I did not catch that. Very well done.
And the only driver who's ineligible for the hardest charge will be Matt Rosie, who did not set a time. He'll be starting from 19th, so we should probably remember that.
So now with what was the results from Hungary last week, we'll bring up the Drivers' Championship here. And we still see Mystic Joker leading the way and continuing and growing that gap to 120 points actually to Hash. Hash still sitting second, Cake Thomas third. The 2 Alpines it is the Alpines, right? Yes. Of Smith Pell and Matt Rosie, 4th and 5th. So good teamwork from those boys there. Smith Pell still staying up high in the grid. Now going into race week 7, so his consistency is paying off here. Ginnittowin working himself back up into 6th. Now we're saying that Yolmir was a surprise to be 3rd here in 4th in qualifying, but he sits 7th in the Drivers' Championship, so Very well done. JC Blackley starting to fall down the order as more races come in. He is 8th. Scavney starting to move up the order now with more races at 9th now. And Tiak rounds out the top 10. The 3 drivers in the relegation zone right now are young DJ CJ, Will Ans, and Soyo Loco. Random Sirius finally has moved himself out of relegation, now sitting at 109 points. And we'll get to the constructors standings quickly before these drivers finish up their formation lap. Alfa Romeo leads the way, spearheaded by Mystic Joker, having a very strong first 6 races, and Alpine sitting second, the only other team in the 800 points range. Ferrari third, Red Bull fourth, and Williams fifth as that midfield battle is well underway. Actually, Ferrari is not too far out as well. They are within 100 points of Alfa Romeo, so a good finish can see them launch up into second and potentially first. But yeah, the boys are finishing up their formation lap. What's your anticipation? What's your prediction here, Jacko?
Well, we don't know what to expect from Jonathan Dunk. We do know what to expect from Mystic, so I think it's going to be hard to bet against the Alfa Romeo man. But I like to see something different. And the last thing I'll note before we set off is that there's no people starting on hards. Everyone in the top 10 on softs apart from Jin. Everyone outside the top 10 on mediums apart from young DJ CJ.
Okay. So no one's taken that hard compound risk. I thought maybe we might see Matt Rosie doing that, but he may feel there's actually a lot of quick drivers in the back half of the pack here, so this will be fun. But you want to take it away there, Jacko?
All right. Well, the order's already rung on my screen, but we'll see what happens anyway.
Yeah,
the lights
same.
are all on, and out they go. Looks like a fairly even start up front. We've got a slow starting Mercedes in the mid-pack. Definitely not Scuba Steve, though, as he's looking to the outside of Jonathan Dunk already. Doesn't get a move off. I could not see if there is any contact in the background or up front. But it looks to be clean, and there's no yellow flags, and all the dots on the map continue moving towards turn 3. And once again at turn 3, got some side-by-side and a bit of a sideways moment there from Cake Thomas as he loses out to Jin in the early stages. He's made a great start, up 2 places on the harder compound. And Cake struggles there with traction. He's on the inside of Smith Pello, who will come out of this on top. Oh, very difficult to decide, actually. They're still side-by-side in the middle sector. One of them's going to have to concede through here, surely. And it looks like Cake swoops around the outside like a majestic magpie and takes the position.
Lovely move from Cake there. We saw that a couple times yesterday in the F2 battles. We see movement all over the back of the pack. Tiak and Hash find each other in 14th and 15th as the 2 Ferrari guys are hoping for a lot sturdy, and that's Super Ninas.
He had been up 6 positions at that point. That's really unfortunate. As he now falls all the way to the back with -3 and into the pits.
Random Sirius didn't have the best of starts, lost some major positions. Major, I mean 3. So, and now he's
coming. Looped it at turn 1.
Random Nears comes down the inside on Smith Pell here, pushes him right onto the curb, but gives him enough room, and they drag out of turn 3, and Random Sirius has the position and takes one of those spots back. Super Ninas is right behind him, but won't be able to fight this one out. Scavney as well, sitting in 9th place, watching this battle happen ahead of him. It was that young DJ.
Second in the championship, struggling down in 13th currently, trying to get a move here on Helg. Could not quite get it to work, and still sits down there in unlucky 13th.
So Matt Rosie has actually found it quite difficult to try and get through the field, as he actually hasn't even overtaken anyone that hasn't spun out. Really, he's Matt Rosie. Yeah, still stuck in the back here. So finding it tough to weave through the field, as I was expecting him to get a little bit more positions than this. But DRS is open now as we're on lap 3. Now,
and Mystic has got a challenger. Jonathan Dunk has stayed close. He's within half a second as we approach what is the 3rd of 3 DRS.
And he goes deep.
Wide is actually Mystic. Yeah. So we're going to see a lead change here. And Jonathan Dunk, on debut in Division 1, is in the lead.
Overtakes our championship, or our driver's championship leader, taking 5 out of the first 6 races this season. And Jonathan Dunk is now making this a lot more difficult for him to go 6 for 7.
So what kind of pressure do you think this puts on Mystic? It's not he's not being beaten by a veteran. He's being beaten by someone who he's likely never seen before. Does this, do you think, make him want to be like, oh no, stay in your place, sir? This is a you can't do this in your first race kind of driver, or oh well,
Oh, there you go.
there it
Now
is.
the pressure is somewhat completely taken off. But you know who's looking really good right now is Jin. Is he stayed in this lead pack, all separated by a half a second, and he's the only man. Am I gonna say in the top 10? No, well, I guess Soya Loco, his teammate actually. So the two drivers in the top 10 are on mediums are also representing the Aston Martin car. So good
The
looks for
Aston
those
Martin
teams.
team who are last in the constructors' championship, as you
Oh,
pointed out to
Jonathan.
me before we started.
Yes,
Oh,
good point.
that's another lead change.
And Mystic with DRS is just going to be able to drag away from Dunk there. And Scuba taking a little bit of a look down the inside line to turn 4, but opts out. And yes, thank you for bringing that up. I completely forgot. This is the first week that out of the whole season that McLaren aren't sitting last in the Division 1 Drivers' Championship. Aston Martin, unfortunately, have fallen into the back of the pack there, now sitting 10th in the Constructors. I said
As soon
Drivers
as we
earlier.
bring up someone, though, Jin now gets a 3-second penalty.
That's as expected, though.
And interestingly, the two teams we mentioned have been struggling this season, Aston Martin and McLaren, both have both cars in the top 10 currently.
Yeah, so we don't know. Maybe the first quarter, third of the calendar didn't suit that team. Soya Loco is finally looking at some solid points in a row here. So he's finally put up points after going pointless the first 5 races, was it? Something ridiculous like that.
Another move for the lead. This time Mystic has the outside better traction, but he won't have DRS. He's got plenty of battery though, so I don't think he's really too concerned.
Ooh, Scuba Steve might
Scuba
take a look.
Steve might
Yeah,
have
he does.
Yeah.
Down the inside around turn 4 here, forces Mystic all the way around onto the curb. Mystic's still going to try and fight this one out. Scuba's, if I know him, he's going to send it deep around the outside, right up onto the curb, but unfortunately taking a little bit too deep of a line, and Mystic offered him a little bit more room, and unfortunately has to sit back into third. I think that's
Talking
young
of
DJ
around though,
CJ.
young DJ CJ, yeah, he was facing the wrong way. He spun to the right, and then he tried to undo it by spinning back to the left.
Oh.
So that's 2 consecutive 360s, and that's not ideal. Not ideal at all.
No, but this is a lovely little front pack here. Yolmir's doing a really good job of staying with this group, as well as Ginnittowin, but a couple of penalties is kind of what's helping them stay there. Well, I mean, helping them, but also hindering them, as they will come back to bite them at the end of this race.
Scuba Steve ducks out of the way there. I'm not sure if he was a bit late on the anchors there. Geez, Yolmir is really loose on the
I saw
the rear
that.
there.
He completely snapped that to the right and just had to grip it back over. But braking very deep into turn 4, getting right onto the tail of Scuba Steve. Hash and Smith Pell. Matt Rosie has actually weaved his way and found a couple positions, but yeah, Hash and Smith Pell battling around turn 4. Smith Pell was on the outside, but Hash holds on in the Ferrari into 10th place right now.
Yeah, Hash, who qualified extremely low for his stature in the standings, 15th I think it was. But at this point, he does get the hard charger points, so perhaps it was part of his plan. Unlikely, but possible, I guess.
It was all a ruse, the qualifying. So now, if you were to tell me that, sorry, quickly, if you were to tell me that if there'd be a McLaren sitting in the top pack at the beginning of the race, I would have instantly have assumed Random Series. Yolmir's having a really good pace here, and Random Series is 2.5 seconds
As he gets
back.
overtaken.
Yeah, but still. Oh, and then Scuba
Steve!
Steve! No. That's a killer.
He almost went underneath the barrier there.
Yeah, I saw that. That was a ruthless collision.
Oh, Bacon has to pick a direction, and he does pick the right direction there. Jeez. Well, he actually picked the left direction, but it was the correct direction as to not hit the rear of the Mercedes that was recovering.
Ooh, nice little three-way battle there through turn 4. JC Blackley cuts down on the inside line underneath Helg, who went around the outside, or tried to go around the outside on Hash. JC Blackley picks that position. Scuba Steve continually drops down the order, and now Helg spins out, and there's his tire as well. That is weird physics, because Scuba Steve hit the wall a lot harder than Helg did, but in a matter of 3 turns, we see both Mercedes drivers spin out and unfortunately one DNFing. I'm not sure if we're going to get a safety car here, but Mystic Joker and Jonathan Dunk once again coming at each other, as well as Ginnitt to win it down the inside line. He's looking at Yolmir now. He's going to push him all the way around the outside. No contact. Mystic Joker does get the clean move on into first place. 3 out of the top 4 drivers with penalties. Mystic Joker, the one not sitting with one. Random Serious right behind Cake Thomas, as Cake Thomas was able to overtake him there. And Scavney, we have 2 packs of 4. No, 3 packs of 4. Wow. Do you see that? There's 3 packs.
I do.
That's hilarious.
Equally spaced as well.
Yes.
I will say that Yolmir is doing a fantastic job of defending into turn 3 because there's DRS on the approach and on the exit, and you really have to get the traction out of the turn as well as maintain the position. And he's just staying on the outside, sticking to his line, and it really works out for him. He's not even sticking to his line the way JC Blacklist sticks to his line, which is turning across people. He's just leaving the space and nailing it out of the turn. It works really well.
This is kind of like indoor cycling, where they just draft each other. Like there's just like a team of 4 and they all just draft each other around the track.
Yes, Austria velodrome.
Yes, yeah, this is exactly what's happening right
Here we
now.
go again for third place. On the inside is Jin. Yolmir will maintain his line on the outside, I'm assuming.
Ooh.
Sure does. And there's a bit of contact, so the traction won't be as impressive this time. But he's still side by side. He's going to have DRS. He's out of ERS though, so that should make the difference. And the tyres will be better on that Aston Martin right now. The Mercedes, all the Mercedes, they're both Mercedes powered, I should say. But the medium tyre on lap 9, probably the one you want to be on.
Yolmir's just not giving way, but Ginnitt, just the speed and the tire compound really takes over, and he gets third place, and now he's going to try and work his way and chop through Mystic Joker. And you know what? Just maybe he doesn't have to overtake Jonathan Dunk as well, but if he just overtakes Mystic and Sewer's, I mean, obviously he's not going to like brake check him or anything like that, but might like slow him down a little bit. It could be completely different. And Yolmir's the first to pull the trigger here, looking at an undercut, and Ginnittowin with another penalty as well.
6 seconds already is tough though. Still 3/4 of the race left to go, and there could be more penalties where it came from.
And Scavney and Cake Thomas now battling for 4th. Scavney lines up the outside. Cake with a lovely defense down the inside, and now Soyo Loco, teammate of Jin, having a great race, now up to 5th, does a lovely little switchback onto Scavney as he was forced to the outside, and now Soyo Loco nearly had enough room to shoot down the inside on Cake, but ends up having to defend Scavney off, and Matt Rosie and JC Blackley battling around turn 4. Just had 2 drivers battling in here literally 2 seconds before, and now Matt Rosie is able to stand around the outside and gets a position on JC Blackley. Hash is very close as well, and I say that, of course, he spins out. Hash now being overtaken by his teammate and trying to get on track here. And yeah, the commentator's curse for us, man, is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, you can guarantee it's going to happen.
Main straight battle for the lead, and Mystic goes down the inside right at turn 1. And it's going to be a much better exit for Jonathan Dunk. So the second DRS zone becomes available to him and Jin, who's behind them like a shark. So both of them to the right of Mystic. Early braking for Jin, who wants to set up this exit out of 3. Didn't quite get it actually, but there'll be DRS available to Mystic now and Jin.
Soyo
further yellow flags.
Soyo Loco's up to 4th, sorry.
Mystic's on the inside, but not quite far enough up to make them move this time. They'll be side by side through the swooping left-hander. Thinks better of it. Oh, another penalty for Jin. Oh,
I was on board with that. That looks, I don't know. Okay, is what it is. Now 9 seconds for Jin through 11 laps. That really hurts.
So these guys continue. They don't opt to cover Yolmir, who's running 12th currently. He's got a bit of traffic to cut through though, which may be the reason.
Soyo Loco.
Oh no. We're really cursing everyone. Maybe we should just not commentate at this point.
Honestly, and a full safety car here, so this is huge for Yolmir.
So he comes past the wreck. He's on mediums. So can he make that whole race work? I don't know actually.
I think he can.
He probably can. Whether it's the best choice, don't know. Yeah, I think he can.
Ah, Racing Ginger's popped into the chat, saying the racing is fire so far. The commentating is cursed.
Cursed is right.
Yeah.
So Matt Rosie quietly moves to up to 7th place with 12 positions gained so far. Part of that will be because of pit stops, but that's not the whole story. He's certainly made some progress, trailing Random Serious current. So that's pretty good going in the early stages here.
So Sui and Hash come into the pit, throw on some hard. Super Ninas, he comes in, throws on some mediums. Same with Impossible, Young DJ.
Ooh,
Tiak
Matt
goes to
stays
hards.
out.
Rosie
So this
stays
is going to
out.
be to the lead.
So let's see where Yolmir, who's someone exiting the pit now. I think Jonathan Dunk is. Oh, this is going to be close for Yolmir. I don't think he's going to be able to overtake. Oh no, I think he's going to come back out just
They've
behind.
pitted under yellow, so he's actually lost out there. The undercut's not worked at all.
Just barely.
He's lost out severely.
He needed that safety car to come in a couple
And we're
laps
seeing a
later.
similar strategy from Jin as we saw last week, actually. He's on the soft compound, so pretty much guaranteeing himself another stop. He's certainly a driver who doesn't like to put the hard on, unfortunately. We're seeing a couple of hards, though.
Yeah, difference.
Four people on the hards. JC, Blackley, Tiak,
Five.
Sui, and Ash.
Mystic throws on the hards as well.
Mystic. Oh, I noticed Mystic. Oh, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. Well, I mean, he doesn't have penalties. He just needs to stay in that pack with the DRS track and he'll be fine. But it's a bit of a risk, I think, to be on a harder compound.
I don't think the hards are quick enough around here. Jonathan might be able to pull away from him. Especially if Jonathan overtakes Matt Rosie. Or, yeah, Jonathan overtakes Matt Rosie right out of the gate. And then Matt Rosie holds up Mystic a little bit. Jonathan might be able to break
they'll all
away.
have to hold Jin off because he's on the soft and he's the only driver on soft.
Yeah, so if you're Mystic, you got Jin right behind you. I don't know how long you can hold him off. Especially
So everyone with
around
penalties
here.
has 3 seconds apart from Jin, who's on 9 seconds currently. And everyone made it stop other than Matt Rosie. We actually see a 2-stop from Super at this point, but he came in at the end of lap 1, so that's to be expected.
So both Alpines and both McLarens have 2 drivers in the top 10. Ferrari and Haas, unfortunately, are the 2 constructors without a driver in the top 10.
True.
And both
Well, no,
Ferraris.
Mercedes as well.
Oh, the Mercs, yes, the Mercs as well. Forgot that we're only with 19 here, yeah. So young DJ CJ needs to start stringing together some solid points here. As we'll pull up the standings once again for you, for everyone to see. But he's one of the few drivers that sits in the relegation zone. Him and Will Ans, who's actually won't be here this evening. So this is, oh, and unfortunately Soyoloko's DNF'd. So Will Ans still holds the gap on Soyoloko, but young DJ needs to try and close the gap on Super Ninas. And right now he is a couple positions ahead of him here in this race, so that is good news for him. Random Series is up in the top 10, so it would be good points for Random Series there. But did you see if the safety car is in this lap? I imagine it is.
It certainly is.
Okay.
It is in this lap. So I'm going to jump on board with Jin, who'll be certainly wanting to get through the pack as soon as he can. As we said before, the only driver on softs gets a bit caught there, napping. But yeah, good restart there from Matt Rosie. Jonathan Dunk, not super close to him at all. And in fact, no one's really close. What the hell is this?
Yeah, no one could catch timing other than Hash on Sui all the way down the order. We're 16th.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's going to go down the inside line. They're going to go wheel to wheel around
Nice
turn
work.
1.
Nice move.
Super Ninas as well is going to try and work into this. Mystic Joker already getting overtaken by Jin, so we'll jump back up to that.
Oh, Jin got a bit of a clobber on that curb and got a nice chunk of sideways going there as Jonathan Dunk applies pressure to Matt Rosie. And if he can get through, he's made almost a second there and the cars behind. Obviously, Jin will catch up, but whether Mystic can stay within a second of the cars in front by the end of the next 2 laps, the DRS will be a key moment in this race. Moment? And am I a cow? What the hell was that?
I don't know. That sounded fun though.
A movement.
Oh, yeah. I think Matt goes to defend the inside line, but yeah, Jonathan Dunk is gonna get through. Mystic is nearly a second back of Jin. And yeah, he is going to be a
Jimmy's got
second
so
back.
much space and he goes flying past on the outside. Actually, brutally ran out of ERS to deploy, but he does make the move. Matt Rosie backs out of it.
So now here we go. How much of a gap can Jonathan Dunk and Ginnittowin pull on Mystic Joker here? And Yolmir as well is right on the tail of Mystic Joker. So if Yolmir somehow finds a way
the car
through...
is understeering a bit on Mystic here, and well, he's 8/10 back of a car that's yet to pit even. So even if he does get DRS from Matt, it may once he clears Matt be a problem to stay with second place.
And it's looking like Yolmir is the quicker car on Mystic, and once that DRS comes out, I will not be surprised if he finds a way to overtake him. Ooh, we have Impossible sending it around the outside on Tiak through turn 6. We come through turn 7, Tiak just edges out, and Impossible has to slide back in, sitting in at 13th now.
A break forming between 9th and 10th there. Smith Pell and JC Blackley. That's the biggest break in the pack so far since the restart. And Matt Rosie's well behind Jin, so that's another break there in the DRS train, which will be starting next lap.
See how long Matt Rosie decides to stay out for.
Presumably he'll want to go to the softs in like the last 10 to 12 laps.
Yeah.
He was recovering quite nicely. Just made it past JC Blackley. He'll be looking to close down Smith Pell, but that gap's up to almost 3 seconds.
Ooh, Mystic was really close to Matt Rosie there. I'm not sure how long Matt's gonna try. I mean, yeah, he needs more laps out of these mediums, so he really can't come in. But as well, Mystic gets a really good run out of turn 10. Matt Rosie is very much struggling, and now Mystic is through.
And Yolmir as well. Flying past. Both of them on a compromised line, and in fact, Cake Thomas had a good look to the inside there and had to back out of it.
Mystic goes way off in turn 1, and yeah, Jin's going to go by Jonathan Dunk as well. And a little bit of contact onto the front right wing of Jonathan, but no damage. Yolmir's through on Mystic, so Mystic gains a position, then loses it right back as Yolmir gains 2 spots through 2 turns, or 3 turns technically, but come on, it's like, make it a 9-turn track. Turn 2 is not even a turn.
If I'm Jonathan Dunk, I'm just going to try and stay as close as I can to Jin. Just take DRS from him as much as I can, not need to pass, because we know that Jin's going to be struggling on tyres, and probably, most likely, have to make a pit stop before the end of the race. Especially as he's got 6 more seconds of penalties than Jonathan. Smith Pell making a move there on Scavney. As Scavney enters the pits, does he have damage?
He must.
I think it's end plate damage, yeah. Another penalty for Jonathan Dunk, though, does bring Yolmir close to the lead of the race and probably puts Mystic in the lead.
Yeah, so that actually really hurts Jonathan, that extra penalty. He's actually going to come at and overtake Jin here.
And Mystic on Yolmir as well. Cake and everyone's 2x2 through turn 3. Cake made the move there on Matt Rosie, and Random Sirius is benefiting as well. Matt Rosie should have pit. He was in 7th place right at the pit stops, and he still needs to make a pit stop. So that's not worked out whatsoever for him, fortunately.
Mystic really trying to get around Yolmir there, but Yolmir's making it really hard on him. And
yeah, with the hards, he was not able to perform the magpie swoops that Cake was earlier in the race. But Yolmir gets a penalty.
But that gap is slowly increasing, Jonathan Dunk to Mystic, so yeah, there you go, fastest lap.
And it needs to, but all the while he's got Jin to deal with, and Jin's going to slow him up. There's no way to avoid that. Oh, they're both really low on ERS though. Let's see Mystic. Yeah, he's going around with 85.
Oh, snap of oversteer. Super Nina spins out around turn 1. Young DJ
No.
gets JC Blackley coming into turn 3. Mystic
Here
still...
comes Mystic steaming up to the back of the McLaren as the front wing level with the rears. And that's not going to be enough, I don't think.
No. Same thing from
Same
last
story
lap
as
here.
last lap.
Yeah.
Yep. Good battling though, but it's definitely slowing both of them down as Matt Rosie reclaims a position there on Random Series. So I assume got sideways.
Yeah.
Wait, does he have damage? I think he has damage.
Yes, he does. He's without the right end plate there. Smith Pell gets an easy position. Random Series. Yeah, he's going to come into the pit.
Cougar Steve steaming up to the back of those two as well. Into the pits is Matt. So this may be for softs. 15 laps is a long way to go though. 16 laps in fact. Yeah, he has to go 16 laps.
Here we
Good
go.
luck
So
to him.
Mystic gets a lot cleaner of an overtake on Yolmir here. Let's see what kind of run out of turn 3 Yolmir gets. Maybe those mediums.
And Mystic may have heat in those tyres now, which is ominous for everyone.
Yes. Yeah, we'll see how well Jonathan Duncan...
And once again, we have to be looking closely at Cake here for a potential podium, as that's 12 seconds now for Gin. But Cake, just like last week, looming, underneath the radar and might be snatching a podium here. He's currently got no penalties, same as Mystic, and is well close to Yolmir, definitely close enough to overlap his penalty, and of course Jin has just too much. So, looking good for Red Bull.
Oh, Jin comes back at Jonathan and re-overtakes now for the race lead.
Here comes Cake for P4 on track as well. Yolmir, not with the best run, and down the inside into 3, makes it work.
So this is very important for Cake as well, as second place could potentially be in the cards. His mediums are looking a lot quicker than Mystic Joker's
Well, even
hards.
first, because if he passes Mystic, this is the net lead.
Yeah.
Or, well, actually, no,
Oh,
it's almost
close.
a net lead,
It's
but it's
close.
very close with Jonathan Dunn, for sure.
Yeah, Ginnitt and Jonathan are putting in some really good lap times here. Jin
He's
absolutely does not care about penalties this race. He's throwing caution to the wind and he's just trying to pump out fast laps. Kind of the, yellow flag in Sector 2, young DJ CJ.
Yeah, I said Red Bull has been a good time, but they lost their driver who was in 9th. That's really unfortunate. He was having a great day.
Mystic was trying to break the toe on Cake here. Cake's just taking very clean lines here, not close enough to Mystic. Mystic gets a really good run.
With that DRS will drag him right to the back of the upper mare gearbox and set him up really nicely for this next straight. And we have more yellow flags. There's a Ferrari around. I think it's Hash. Oh no. Second place in the championship. Maybe under threat here. How close is third? Let's have a quick look at the standings. So it's actually Cake Thomas looming just 29 points back. So that might be, that looks like Cake is well within position to make that happen.
I think Jin's softs are starting to fall off here, as Jonathan is really all over him and he's getting thrown around by the dirty air of Jin as well. So Jonathan, I imagine if he overtakes Jin, that'll be the last overtake between these two drivers. But Jonathan just can't find the pace. But it is good though, because he's worked that gap to... And Mystic picks up a huge penalty. Oh my, that is massive. So that puts Jonathan Dunk currently sitting in for the race win with Ginnitt assumingly having to pit, and Mystic Joker
and here
going
comes Cake.
Deep
Cake
through
is
turn
actually
3.
about half a second back from the race lead technically himself. So this is a key moment for him. He needs to catch up just half a second and he's in that lead, which would be either of these drivers' first win in Midwest.
So that's about the third time I've seen Mystic Joker misjudge turn 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's just unrealistic. You got to buff Mystic, I think.
Yeah. And Jin with another penalty. Oh my god. He's at 18 seconds. Oh my god, man.
Smith Pell now with a penalty there.
Here we go,
That's
Jonathan
his second
Dunk.
of the race.
He's gonna overtake.
Oh,
Jin
gone.
Jin squeezed him a little bit. Oh, this is gonna
Where's everyone going to end up?
Oh, Jin.
Oh, that's ugly.
Oh, and
He's
he actually retires. His car
that
parks.
Actually gave another half second to the race leader, so that could be key as well. Although you wouldn't bet against another penalty. I'm actually going to have a look at the warnings these guys have got, see who's close to the next penalty.
So Yolmir still up high up in the pack here. We'll see how much ground Matt Rosie can make up on those fresh softs and 3 drivers ahead on the hards. So his main goal here is to try and hunt down JC Blackley. And
so Cake has had 1 warning all race. I think Jonathan's on his 7th or 8th.
Oh, Jonathan comes into the pit.
Oh, that's a new wing. There must have been contact there.
So Cake goes into the lead and has virtually a 3.5 second gap. But now Mystic's going to come at him here into turn 3. Cake defends the inside line. Forces Jin to go all the way around the outside. Let's see how good these hards are now compared to the mediums. And both get a fairly good run out of turn 3, but looks like Mystic's got the better traction. Cake has to slot behind.
He's got hardly any ERS though, which is probably what's making a difference here. Mystic knows to save it now. And he's got track position. Although, who's going to be the swooping magpie this time? Cake really has the grip around here. Makes it work once again. Very impressive driving. And this is for a maiden victory now.
Yeah, that was a great move around turn 6 there. Melon Patch Gaming shouts out for Bacon.
Scuba Steve is up into 5th. He has no penalties, looking at 4th quite easily. And, he's right in range for Yolmir as well.
Yeah, this is Super Ninas again. Oh, and puts
not the only one.
And
young DJ out. He needed points.
Yes, he did.
Safety car.
Oh, wow.
Big news. Into the pits, several cars. But that means anyone who doesn't have a penalty is looking super good right now, including Scuba Steve, including the race leader, Cake Thomas, including JC Blackley in 8th. Even Matt Rosie in 10th.
Matt Rosie, yeah. Jonathan Dunk on the softs, so he kind of comes back into this a little bit as well.
Yeah, well, we see drivers pit. The lead pack. You have to imagine will come in.
Hash and Random Serious. And Scavney all throwing on some fresh softs. Scavney actually with no penalties, so this is going to be huge to catch him back up on the fresh softs with no penalties.
So second safety car of the race. Obviously yesterday we didn't see any safety cars in the F2 because we had the settings wrong. It's unfortunate, which is why the round was cancelled. As Cake does not pit, but Mystic does. Oh, big news. And Yolmir follows him in.
How far down is Mystic going to go?
Scuba Steve. Well, it might be a case of everyone pits. Yeah, everyone's pitting apart from Cake and Matt Rosie, Jonathan Dunn.
So that is so tough on Cake. That is so tough on Cake.
Particularly if Mystic comes out in front of these guys. No, he doesn't. He's behind. Okay, so he's in 4th place. This is still on for Cake because Matt Rosie will fight the position presumably. How old is Thomas? 6 laps old. Oh, I mean, it's definitely possible, but Cake, this is going to be harder than it was.
Mystic does have Jonathan Dunk ahead of him. So
Mystic now is on the right tyres. He's on fresh tyres, fresh softs.
So is Jonathan Dunk.
Yeah, this is not something you want to see when Mystic's not there, and he's got less penalty than Jonathan.
Yeah, but it's looking good, really good for Matt Rosie, and Cake is maybe he's still without any penalties.
So everyone on soft tyres apart from Kate Thomas, and they're 14-lap-old mediums.
That is such a tough
Almost
call.
the entire field
I
on
mean,
zero-lap-old softs, apart from the top two soft drivers, 6 laps and 1 lap old. Obviously, 1 lap old is negligible, but there's going to be 7 laps to go after this lap.
I'm surprised we didn't see someone else take a risk.
I think Cake needed to pit. That's really unfortunate.
Well, to be honest, how are you supposed to know though? You really don't know.
It's just experience at that point. If you see everyone around you with penalties, you kind of have to do it and just stay in the train if they don't pit. If he can stay in the train though, after being overtaken by a couple of guys, maybe it's still on for him with no penalty. But it's going to be a lot harder than it was prior to the safety car deploying.
Now, Matt Rosie is on 7-lap-old softs as well.
Yes.
Okay, so this can go many ways.
We also have to watch out for Scuba Steve,
Yes.
who's sitting there in 7th with no penalties.
100%.
The Impossible Wacken's definitely been underneath the radar. I haven't mentioned him all race, I don't think, and he's currently in 8th place with 3 seconds of penalties.
He was in the back half there for a while. I think his pit stop strategy just kind of worked out for him. And yes.
Safety car in this lap.
So look, yeah, Super Nina's just caught up. Hardest charger right now is sitting with Sui actually, going from 18th to 11th. Matt Rosie, of course, gaining 17 positions, but not enough. Or he didn't set a time, so he's not valid. Cake with 5 positions gains, Impossible Bacon with 6. So we're about to get back underway. Oh, Scoop is no.
Underneath safety car. What?
Oh.
Well, it's just Cake, Matt, JC, and Scabby now without penalties. And it's close up front. Blanket once again can be thrown over 3 drivers, and this time it's Cake, Matt, and Jonathan Dunk. Matt looking to the outside. He knows he needs to make a move and get away as soon as possible. But if these two let Jonathan Dunk through, it might be all over. So he's got 6 seconds of penalty, so probably not actually. Mystic looming in the mirrors of the AlphaTauri.
Ooh, Jonathan holding him off though. 4 cars, so very close. Mystic Joker now at the inside line on Jonathan Dunk. Very important. Jonathan's got to send it around the outside in defense. And Mystic still at the inside line around turn 7. Matt Rosie and Cake touch a little bit. Jonathan sends it
2
deep.
by 2. This is amazing.
Oh my. Cake still somehow holds on to the lead. Jonathan with the inside line.
Retirement. That's unfortunate. How was they this close? This is outrageous.
Matt Rosie gets through finally. Mystic Joker just clears. Yeah, just clears Jonathan Dunk. Now Cake and Jonathan are dragging down the straight. And Cake's got the inside line, and yeah, these tires are just really gonna kill him here. And then he spins. He just was. He put those tires just onto the limit.
There was contact there with car on his outside, I believe. But so painful to be in first at the start of the lap and now 14th. That's race over from Cake. And Red Bull, who were looking so good only a few minutes ago, find themselves 14th and last, and also out. Random Spirits we lost in the McLaren, by the way, earlier that lap.
Ooh, we get a great camera angle here as we have 4 drivers battling for 1 position. Tiak just able to edge out JC Blackley. We got Scuba Steven and Impossible Bacon battling just up ahead.
And it's Bacon who looks like he might be on a podium potentially, because he's only got 3 seconds of penalties. 3 cars in front of him all have more.
Oh, Mystic Joker's so close to Matt Rosie here.
A bit of a cut there from Jonathan Duncan. That'll be another warning, I imagine.
Still no DRS here. He's going to get it up the hill into turn 3. Takes a peek at the inside. Nothing quite going.
So what does Matt do here? Does he decide to let one of these guys through and then try and stay within 3 seconds for the rest of the race? I don't know if that's viable on that much older tyres.
Mystic gets through clean.
Looking for it around the outside as well as Mystic, making how good's the traction out of the corner. Much better for Mystic. This is ominous. People need to make sure he doesn't get away, or it could be another win for Mystic Joker.
Surely Matt Rosie is the only man that can do it right now. He's got fastest lap, so extra points there, but there's a difference of 7 laps on these softs, and Mystic is already starting to pull away. And we know how untouchable Mystic can kind of be when he's got an open track ahead of him. Very important last 2 turns here for Matt Rosie here to try and keep in DRS. He does just get it. Now he's got to try and close that gap.
Stay once again within DRS. There's Mystic Joker setting the fastest lap. The more laps he can stay within 1 second, the easier this will be to stay within 3 seconds by the end of it. And here's another helping of DRS. 3 zones could be so key to this race.
Oh,
so
huge.
key.
Hash and JC Blackley are battling it down for 10th place there as Hash gets it halfway down, coming up the hill into turn 3.
Wow, so there's going to be 3 laps to go at the end of this one. And Mystic needs, less than a second a lap on much better tyres. I don't know. This is going to be close, but I think Mystic is the favourite.
It's this middle sector that's huge here for Matt Rosie and for Mystic. Yeah, because now
there's the 1 second eclipse, and that's going to be enough. I think Mystic used ERS.
Oh, and there it is. I saw. As soon as he went up on the curb, and that. How many warnings does Mystic have? Do you remember?
I think he had. Well, I'll have a look. Yeah, he's got 4 in total, so he needs another 2 to get another penalty.
And now knowing that Matt Rosie gets that, that's really going to change things. And now Jonathan Dunk.
There's a penalty for Bacon as well, and he was looking good for the podium, but that really scuppers that. Now might be Scuba Steve looking at it.
Jonathan
Dunk. There's contact.
Ooh.
Yolmir into Matt Rosie. Slows them both up. Here comes Smith Pell. Playing side by side, but it's actually 9 seconds for Smith Pell, so he won't be figuring in the battle for the podium. Who will it be? Scuba Steve now pounces on Bacon.
Just gets through. Yolmir's over a second back of Jonathan Dunk now as Matt Rosie's softs have surely fallen off.
Ooh, bit of sideways there from Smith Pell. He saves it though.
If Smith and Matt Rosie are in a podium, I imagine Smith is just going to hold Matt Rosie ahead.
Oh,
and
contact. Scuba Steve into the back of Smith Pell. Hopefully no damage.
This is extremely close here.
I tell you what, with 2 laps to go, there's going to be a lot of positions gained from Scavney if he can hold onto the track as he almost splats his car across the wall.
Oh my,
but he's got no penalty.
Does he have enough to podium here?
I don't think so.
It is close. He's going to overtake Scuba. He's going to overtake all the way up to...
Oh, it's going to be so close, actually.
Yeah. As long as he can clear Matt Rosie, he can podium. So Scavney's just got to hope the pack stays tight. And Tiak is just on the outskirts there. Jonathan Dunk picks up another penalty, so that pretty much takes him off the podium.
Into the hat there.
Wow, so Scavney, I think JC Blackley's too far back. He's definitely going to gain some positions with all the drivers on 6 and 9 seconds worth of penalties. We're on to the final lap here. Mystic Joker surely has this one wrapped up. Jonathan Dunk goes off once again. Yolmir over a second and a half back. He won't be able to get close to Jonathan Dunk. Matt Rosie surely will be very close to a podium. Smith Pell's holding off the pack behind. He totally knows that he doesn't have a chance for podium here. Scuba Steve wants to get an overtake done, but he's running out of turns here, and that's the last DRS section in this track. Oh, Tiak has actually fallen over a second back of Impossible now. Scavney needs Tiak to close the gap. This is getting so very close. I have no idea how this is going to end. All I know for sure is we're going to have Mystic on the top step.
No, I think Scavney is second. I think Scavney is second.
It's close to Matt Rosie. Here we go. We're gonna find out now. Mystic Joker
Oh,
gets
Skipper
the.
Steve crashes on the last turn. He's out.
Oh, he's out. Here we go. Scavney does jump up to
Scavney
second,
does get
and
it.
Matt Rosie in third. JC Blackley in fourth. Wow.
So
Sorry.
after all that, the lead out for charity is not Jonathan Bank in the end.
Oh my. What in the world? Topher Tree says, good ratio, nicely done. Thank you very much, Topher. Appreciate it.
JC understandably elated with P4. He wants to cross the line about P9 or 10, but wow. As we see the podium, once again, Mystic Joker. Is that a surprise for you there, Mystic?
You know what, to be completely honest, that at a moment there, I didn't think he was going to win it. But with some penalties that went his way from other drivers, this wasn't, I mean, this was his race, but once he got a penalty, then I can't, whose was it? It was Matt Rosie's race to lose, but the penalty from him really killed it.
I'm seeing 3 drivers with that penalties who finished the race: Scavney, JC, and Kate Thomas. The unfortunate Kate Thomas, who brings it home in 12th place, who arguably had the best chance of winning until the second safety car was deployed there. But Scavney makes up 7 positions to finish in second place. JC Blackie from 13th to 4th. Lots of great drives here. Ash even from 15th to 8th is a nice recovery.
So JC is our hardest charger.
Yeah, JC hardest charger, fastest lap for Mystic Joker. So much deserved victory there, and lots of points. So he'll be pretty happy with that, you'd have to imagine.
A dreadful
I
day.
don't want to talk to Kate, I'll be honest.
Oh, a dreadful day for Mercedes and Aston Martin, as no points for Aston Martin, so they'll surely still be at the back of the pack, and as well Mercedes only having one driver technically finish with points, that being Scuba Steve, even though he spun out. Are we in broadcast channel? Okay, good. I'm just gonna Mystic Joker. I'm exhausted, man. I need to go to bed. Okay. We'll get cake in here then. All right. Man, okay. It's how do you even dissect that? What do you like, I mean,
Tough one.
yeah, this is just crazy.
We need Karun Chandok to help us with that.
Yeah, right? And his 55-inch touchscreen TV. Oh. You know, one day.
I mean, Midwest is big enough to have a 55-inch touchscreen, surely.
Well, with the help of subscriptions and donations. Now, we're pretty good. We don't really ask for that yet. We're not big enough to quite ask for that. We mainly just get in-house subscriptions. Mystic say anything?
I haven't seen him say anything yet.
Usually he's all over the place. Oh, there he has joined into the waiting room. I haven't heard anything from Cake yet. Alright, well, okay, well, you're all ready to go?
Yep.
Cool. Just bring the degenerates into the chat now. Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
Pretty good.
Doing alright. Yeah.
You guys seem disappointed to hear me again. You enjoyed your break week away from me?
Yeah, where's Hotspot?
It was fantastic.
Oh yeah, there it is. There it is.
You sure you didn't want to take another week off?
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
deserve
You
it
know,
after so long.
the joke's over. The joke's over. You already stabbed me in the back right in front of my face. So don't even worry about it. I love that saying, but whatever. Anywho, good race. All three of you guys. Podium was great. Scavney, that was freaking bonkers, man. You jumped all the way up from 9th to 2nd. Like,
Tell me about it.
yeah, well done. Mystic Joker, you were definitely under fire there for a lot of the race. And I even said that you may have gotten a little bit of lucky to come away with that. And Matt Rosie as well, which is kind of consistent through and throughout. Unfortunately, your tires kind of gave way on you there, but still a podium, so well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, but anywho, we'll start with the race winner here. Right now we're just sitting with 3 of you guys. We might get Cake Thomas into the chat if he responds, but yes, we'll start with Mystic. Now, we still have yet to decide or figure out what the curse is, or if we're just your lucky charm, but another race win from you here in Austria. You got pole position just barely from Jonathan Dunk there. How much was that? About 99% of what you could put into Austria for a qualifying lap?
Definitely not.
No?
Definitely not. No, I was pretty frustrated throughout quali because I couldn't hook up a lap. I kept messing up turn 1, and that's just, you gain or lose so much time through there. You know, I just kept messing it up and couldn't carry good speed for the rest of the lap. Sector 3, the final sector, I felt good. The last couple of turns, I feel like I was taking those pretty damn well, but yeah, I don't know. I just couldn't hook it up. So honestly, I'm kind of surprised that I got pole because yeah, was kind of surprised when ended up keeping it. And yeah, I mean, as far as the race goes, like you said, it was pretty intense. I mean, I wasn't really pushing at the start. I wasn't. I was hoping that J Dunk would burn up his ERS, and those around me would burn up their ERS, because I was just chilling like in the high 80s, 90s for a majority of that first stint. Took a gamble under the hards. In another league, I pitted around, I want to say around the same time for the mediums, but at that point my mediums felt so dead towards the end of the race that, you know, I kind of thought back to that and I was like, okay, well, if I can hang in there, maintain a consistent pace, and, you know, let whoever pitted behind me, you know, with like softs or mediums kind of pull me along, then I could maybe make something happen at, you know, towards the last few laps of the race. Once those mediums start kind of going off, then the hards will come into play. But yeah, as you saw, the safety car threw that all out of the window.
There we go. Muted. Sorry. Yeah, it was a crazy race, man, and you almost, for a couple of moments there, you almost didn't have that win, but like a couple of things had to have gone your way to help you get over the line there. But another win's in the books for you. We head off to Suzuka. Now there's a lot of people a majority, I guess I can say, who dislikes Suzuka. Are you a part of that?
I don't dislike it, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite. It's kind of neutral.
Okay.
Like yeah, it's I don't really go either way on that track. Just yeah, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable for sure.
Okay, fair enough. Jacko?
Yeah, I was going to ask Mystic. We were going into this race completely unfamiliar with Jonathan Dunk, who was the driver you battled with from the lead for most of the race. Were you familiar with him going into the race, or was that the first time ever battling with him?
No, I've raced against him quite a few times already in another league that I'm in, so
Okay.
definitely familiar with him. Yeah, he's very solid, very solid driver. He has crazy pace on his day. So yeah, I mean, would love to battle him some more in Midwest for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we were really impressed, and obviously very impressed with you as usual.
Thanks. Yeah, I gotta say, man, one hell of a battle after that second safety car. I mean, we literally went, side by side, like in 2 rows. All four of us, in the final sector. That was pretty intense, man. I knew I had to do everything I could to try to get ahead, and I burned up so much of my. Once I got ahead, I burned up all of my ERS trying to like pull away and hoping that they would start fighting, and then I could kind of pull that 3-second gap because unfortunately I got that pin. But luckily, they kind of ended up taking care of that. So
There you go.
yeah.
Well done again. Congratulations. We'll see how you can do in Suzuka. And yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, thanks guys, appreciate it.
No problem. Now I've got shout out for Div 2 podium, Dace TG, LFR Mason, Hightower with the 1, 2, 3, and I've actually got Dace in the broadcast chat. Are you there, Dace? He's muted for right now. Oh, Dace?
There I am. Sorry, I had myself muted.
No worries, man. So Division 2 win tonight. Why don't you run us through it quick before we get on to the rest of the Division 1 podium?
Oh, finally, I made it through a race without dying. I don't know. I was basically just trying to keep it together the whole time and not push. I was so scared to bin it again. But after that other safety car and I got a good jump, I just knew I was gonna pull away.
Well done. So what was the gap between you and second place there?
6 seconds.
Good stuff. All right. So fairly. How many safety cars was in your race there?
I think we had 2 VSCs and then we had one full safety car.
So you're actually not doing as well as I thought you were doing in Div 2 this season. What's going on?
My quality's been great, but I just get to the race and I can't keep it together. But this patch seemed to help me a little bit with, I guess it's my just inconsistency, just hitting a curb I shouldn't hit once out of 30 laps, and it ruins it.
Wow, fair enough. Well, hopefully you can find some solid form in the middle part of the year here, and we can see you back in Division 1. It's good to hear
Thank
from you,
you.
though.
Hoping to get back. You guys have a good one.
Thank you. You as well. All right, on to Scavney here. Scavney?
How's it going?
Good, man. Good. Actually, I guess we'll do shout out for Division 3 podium here with Evil Prime, SZ Smith 630, and Humble Hippo with the 1, 2, 3. All right, Scavney, from 9th to 2nd with no penalties, man. Did you even know that was a possibility?
Well, I mean, I could see there were people around me that all had picked up some penalties, and Bacon was telling me the guys ahead who all had penalties. So I knew it was definitely in line to gain some positions, and especially when that second safety car came out, the field stayed tighter together than I was expecting, which I guess helped out quite a bit. But we were getting to the final couple laps, and I was thinking, yeah, maybe P4 or P5, and then cross the line second. I was a little bit surprised to say the least, but I'm definitely happy with that.
Yeah, phenomenal finish. Now this finish potentially, I believe it will move you up ahead of Red Bull in the Constructors Championship here, so you'll go into 4th place. Kind of going into the next races coming up here. Japan, we got a break week, and then Singapore and Silverstone. Do you think that you can now close that gap maybe to third in the Constructors Championship behind Ferrari, or would you say that that might be a couple of weaker tracks for you and your teammate?
I mean, there's definitely quite a few tracks that I enjoy coming up. Suzuka, one of them, Singapore as well. I think we definitely have some more pace we can show as well. I mean, we haven't had the best luck to start the season in some weeks, but I think it's definitely still a lot to consider in the future. But I definitely think we can be up there.
Yeah, I'm expecting Impossible to kind of move his way up the standings a little bit. He can be a very consistent driver. Almost had a podium as well, but a couple penalties kind of hurt him in the end. But still, a podium from the Williams is good to see. And I think, Jack, do you remember where Impossible Bacon finished?
Don't actually.
Yeah.
I think it was
P6.
it just got so muddled up at the end. Yeah, P6.
P6. Oh, so major points from Williams there. Okay, so we might this might be the point where the Williams start catching fire and start moving through the ranks. But yeah, congratulations on the podium. I'll let Jacko take it away.
Well, you kind of asked all my questions there, Crash.
I'm good at that.
Let's see. Was your approach that entire time, Scavney, just to avoid any penalties and hope for that late safety car, or how did that work out for you? You just a clean driver all the time.
Oh, that's the goal, of course. But especially around here, I knew that had to be something I could focus on. I mean, losing a tenth or two here or there would work out in the end. But I mean, towards the start of the race, we were looking pretty good. And then I had an unfortunate incident in turn 1 about halfway through the race, so that kind of threw everything off track. But then that late safety car bailed us out. So definitely keeping it clean was something I wanted to focus on this weekend, and it paid off. So happy about that.
Well, absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, huge payoff there. Well done. Hopefully we can talk to you again come next week in Suzuka.
Yep, sounds good.
Best of luck. On to Matt Rosie. Matt,
Hello.
how you doing, man?
Pretty good. You?
Not too bad, not too bad. Had a nice little week off there. But before we get to you, sorry, I always forget about this. Shout out to the Div 4 Podium DDL, Zarexka, and Text-to-Speech with a 1, 2, 3. So well done to those guys. But there you go, Matt Rosie, another podium for you here. Back, is that 3 in a row now? I know it's back to back.
Yeah, just back to back with my second podium.
Okay, so you're starting to find a little bit of form. Hopefully 3 can be the streak for you going into Suzuka. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, I'm usually pretty strong at Suzuka. I didn't think I'd have that great of a shot here, but I actually felt really good after the patch. But unfortunately, my qualifying ruined that for me. So hopefully we can keep it strong in Suzuka.
Okay. Well, you know what? I don't want to take any questions away from Jacko, so let's get to him early here.
I got the obvious question, Matt. What happened in quali?
Well, I was on for like a 103.9 on the mediums. So I was like pushing it really hard because I was like, okay, that might be good enough to be like top 3 on the mediums. I'll start there and then I have a pretty good shot for the race. Coming out of the last corner, I just put a little bit too much on the throttle. Didn't short shift, and I was backwards in the wall.
So unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a nerve-wracking race from you at the end there, kind of seeing you slowly slip down the order. It hurt to see, but those softs obviously kind of just ran their course, hey?
Yeah. I mean, I think that after the safety car restart, I was at, I think, 26% on my worst tire. So I was like kind of just in survival mode. I didn't have any penalties at the time. So I thought if I could get by cake and I could just stay within someone's DRS, I could potentially get the win. But I ended up getting a penalty trying to chase after Mystic. And everybody on the fresh tires was just too quick for me.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Maybe, I mean, in a perfect world, you might have been able to hold them off in the mediums, but...
Yeah, I mean, the worst part is I had P2 because, well, I think I did anyway.
Yeah,
Smith Pell,
you definitely
I was with
would've.
Smith Pell I was trying to slow up everyone for Smith so that Scuba wouldn't pass him and try to give him a little bit of a slipstream. I didn't realize Gavin had no penalties, and I wasn't thinking all the way back to P9. I just know up to like P7 everyone had penalties, so I was like, okay, I should be good for P2. And yeah, I mean, he pulled the rug under me. Once I saw I was back in third, when I looked at my screen again, I was like, what?
Oh my.
But yeah, no, all the credit to him, man. I know he's had some bad luck, so he definitely deserved it. I mean, he got a race to the end, clearly.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if I was pushing, I don't know if I would have had P2. I didn't realize how close he was in P9.
True enough. No, you definitely. I think it was a half a second in the end.
Yeah.
It was really close. Yeah, you might have had a shot. But still, podium's a podium, so not too bad.
Exactly, especially from P19. I'll take it.
Yeah, 100%. So very well done to you. Best of luck in Suzuka. Maybe we'll talk to you again in 1 week's time. Unless anything from you, Jacko, anything left? Or did you already use your
Well,
question?
yeah, actually, I wondered, Matt, if you considered pitting under the first safety car, because that may have actually put you in a better position by the end of the day.
I did. I did. I actually had some comms on the radio with my teammate. He convinced me to stay out. Originally thought it was I mean, I wasn't aiming for a podium. I was aiming for like P7, P8, and fastest lap. So it made more sense for me to stay out and go for the softs because I just didn't think I had a chance. But with the second safety car, I mean, I don't think being on hards anyway would have benefited me that much. I think I would have ended up even further down the order. Just knowing the pace of the hards and knowing the guys behind me. I mean, missing on fresh hards would have been long gone ahead of me, right? And everyone else would have been on fresh tires. So me being on hards in P10, I don't think really would have made too much of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were running 7th at the time, and then you moved you up to P1, but you ended up down in 7th anyway in a few laps. So I thought.
Oh, was I? Was I in 7th at that point? I didn't even know I was in 7th.
Yeah.
I thought I was way further down. All right.
Well then.
Well, hindsight always is a tough thing to understand. So
Yeah,
it worked out for you in the end anyway, in the podium.
worked out in the end.
Yeah, like I said, best of luck heading into Suzuka. We'll quickly do the Division 6 podium. Shoots Gween, Fusions, and Coxie 96. So well done to those guys. And we'll get on to Cake Thomas here. As Cake, you were requested from Jacko, as we couldn't get JC Blackley in. If you're there, Cake. You're muted right now if you don't know. Okay. Still, and he's gone. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, you might. Cake, can you hear us? There you go. You're good now. Okay, Cake. So, actually, you know what, Jack? I'll let you lead this because you requested him. So you obviously have a question for him.
Well, I'm sorry, Cake, to drag you in here after the plane of that race, but I really thought you were on for your maiden win there in the division. So
I did too.
Talk us through, I guess, from the point the second safety car came out to the point where you ended up 14th at turn 1. What happened in that time? What were you thinking?
Well, before the safety car came out, like you said, I was very excited, thinking I was about to get my first D1 win. Then the safety car came out. When we were going around to the pit lane entrance, I was thinking that, maybe Mystic and whoever else was behind me, I don't remember. I thought they would pit, but I thought the rest of the field would stay out. So I was just hoping, like, okay, maybe just the top 2, top 3 stay or go in. But then I just kept seeing more and more cars go in, so I got worried. I knew I was going to be at a huge disadvantage tire-wise. I somehow managed to hold off the top 3 for that first lap. After the safety car, I was side by side for Mystic basically the whole lap. And then we got to turn 1. I went side by side with the Alpha Tauri. We made a little contact. I don't think it was his fault. I think it was just a racing incident, but it sent me into the wall. I got rear wing damage, and then at that point, I basically just had to limp it home and hope other people crashed out, but no one did. So I ended up with, I think, 12th after all the penalties. But yeah, it was pretty disappointing, but nothing I could do about it.
That's really unfortunate. I mean, I think we may have cursed you there, saying that you might be able to move up to second in the championship. I think we cursed half the field in that race. So, yeah, such bad luck, man. I know how you must feel. Yeah. So,
Yeah, gutted.
and any
But
mean it's going to get better in the future, and you'll get that win eventually.
yeah, that's what the goal is.
Keep your chin up, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys.
No problem. No, we'll hear from you again. You're having a great season. You almost had a shot. I don't know if Jacko mentioned that. I was looking at the 2019 Hockenheim Grand Prix results. because I was gonna say that you kind of you Hulkenberged it in a way. You because he was on for a podium that race and then he crashed out.
Yeah, I remember that was horrible.
Yeah,
I was so gutted for him.
that would have been his first ever podium in F1, and he was super set for it, but then crashed out, and then yeah. So sorry to make the
Hey, Kolkenberg, it's all good.
yeah. Sorry to make the simile there, but it's a good one. I completely forgot what I was gonna say. Oh Christ. All right. So what about? I mean, the break week's coming up actually. So you got one more week, and then the break week. Division 1, of course, gets the break week right in the middle of the season. Are you content with your first half? I mean, of course, you still have one more race, but heading into Japan, are you content with how your first 7 races have gone?
Yeah. For the most part, I pretty much every race I could have had a podium, but there was a couple races like Spain in the beginning. I chose the wrong strategy, so I ended up finishing 6th. Brazil, I had a couple incidents, and same with Bahrain. And then today, obviously, what happened. So, the results haven't been perfect, but they've been good enough. I should still be top 3 in the points, I believe. So, yeah, I'm satisfied, but definitely could be better.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll see what you can do in Suzuka as well in the second half of the year. So, well done, Cake. Hopefully, I'm sure you'll be getting more podiums, man. Don't worry. It is what it is. You got a win coming your way. I believe.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
We'll try not to curse you. We're really good at it. All right. Well, I'm just gonna scoot all you guys back over to waiting room, and then we'll jump
Real quick,
back
speaking of the curse, we already figured it out. What do you
Me?
mean? We figured it out last week.
No, well, it's at least.
It's Jacko needs. I've only not won when Jacko isn't in the booth.
Okay.
What are you telling me? Do you want me to stay in the booth then?
You're doing a great job.
Yeah. Give this man a raise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get me a paycheck first, and then we'll work on a raise. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, okay. All right, Jacko's the curse. I'm just the Robin to the curse's Batman. I help a little bit. I curse you a little bit. I curse the league a little bit, guys. Come on. All right. Anything left to say from anyone in the league or anyone here in the chat, or can I scoot you guys out? No.
So, congrats to the podium. Congrats to everyone that showed up tonight. Had a pretty interesting race, and yeah, looking forward to next week.
There we go. Good to hear. Well done. Goodbye, all. We'll jump back over after. All right, Jacko. Let's bring up Suzuka here. We'll bring up the track map of Suzuka. We'll get your thoughts going into that race. We'll get your final thoughts of this race, and then yeah, we'll get to our goodbyes here. So we got Japan coming up, Japanese Grand Prix, one of 2 FIA approved tracks to have a figure 8 formation. Now, obviously the S's are extremely difficult on that track. What's your take of the overall track?
Well, I mean, that was a track where people were loose last game, and this game, the rear end is even less wieldy, let's say. So we might be seeing a lot of spins next week, let's put it that way, even from this talented group that we have in Division 1.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one, that's for sure. Of course, you got... yeah, it's just... There's this track just screams difficulty in a lot of areas. So, yeah, the skill's going to have to come out. Fastest lap sits with Kenny Kenny 25. Of course, F1 champion, or Midwest champion all the way back in Division 1. Now I've actually meant to ask you, I forgot about this. Since the game has actually, or Codemasters EA or whatever, they've completely wiped away all the fastest laps from the beginning of this game. Now, do our fastest laps carry over? Do we carry those over, or do we wipe those too and go with the old fastest laps?
Oh, it's a tough call, but I think we had official races, so we have to keep them as official records. I would imagine. although that's not my decision to make. I guess we'll have to find out.
Well, they are our fastest laps, if you remember. We helped those happen. So
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
specifically ours. So, what is this? Russia?
yeah. Pork says they're carrying over their league records. Okay, fair enough. All right,
Yeah.
so now let's hear your thoughts of this most recent race, that being Austria, that just happened.
Well, we thought it was going to be unpredictable. It certainly was, but then once again it came to Mystic Joker winning the race. No surprises in the man who wins the race, but throughout the race doesn't show, what happened between lights out and the checkered flag. So that's the reason we tune in every week, and it's a reason to tune in next week at Suzuka as well.
I mean, good point. That's why you race them, right? You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, there's so many different changes from what was from every lap pretty much had a position change, whether it being a penalty or an overtake. So it's just a great race. Austria did not disappoint. It always brings, I'd say, the best out of the drivers in overtaking and in speed. So it was an overall fun one. It's off the calendar now. We go to a technical circuit of Suzuka, and we'll see what these drivers are really made of here. But anything left to say there before I bring it home there, Jacko? Any
Not much from me. No, I think that's basically covered everything.
That's about it, as us Canucks will say.
Sounds about right.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, Austria's in the book. Japan's up next. Come back and join us next week starting Wednesday with F2. Well, they'll be at Japan as well. So come say hi. Come see Jacko race. Enjoy what is your weekend. Go check us out on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Very much appreciated. Thank you, everyone that did stop by in the stream today. It wouldn't be the same without all of you lovely faces. So, like I said, have a good weekend. Enjoy your time with us.